Alright guys, just want to talk about I mounted this mile marker winch on the Humvee. It's not going to be one of my best videos because I just wanted to get it done, and filming ads, like, it doubles your time. But I just want to walk through to kind of tell you what I did, maybe give you some pointers. So yeah, let me flip the camera here. So you can get these on eBay right now. This is a 12,000 pound 24 volt mile marker winch. I guess I'll just walk you through. A lot of you probably already know this. The studs here, these are the electrical studs. I don't know if that's a proper term for it. They're color coded, so you know, just put the yellow to yellow, green to green, red to the red. This one here I'm pretty sure is a ground. Maybe not take my word for it, but I've installed a few winches. That's usually the ground if it's not marked. And then you've got a long power wire here, which I believe, I haven't hooked up the electrical yet, although it's going to be pretty easy. I believe that runs up under the chassis, and there's a power stud sticking out from the battery box under the passenger seat that you can just run this to. So that's pretty cool. And if I remember right, I'm going to have to go with the bigger thing here, but I could be wrong. And then might be the same case on the ground. The ground wire is sitting on the ground right there. I don't remember what I did on the last Humvee. But anyway, wiring is pretty straightforward. It's just like you wire anything else up. You want a 24 volt source and you want a good ground. Not a whole lot to it. Interesting thing here. So I bought the Black Dog Customs. Let me zoom out a touch here. I bought the Black Dog Customs extended winch plate brackets. They came just bare steel. I painted mine. And the winch plate. All right, camera randomly shut off. I don't know why, but newer. They say this winch plate is supposed to work with the newer mile marker winches and Sherpa winches. Sherpa's a company out of Australia. I had one on my previous Humvee. They're yellow. This is the first mile marker I've ever had. Few things to note. That winch plate is exactly the same as my old winch plate right there. I didn't realize that, so I kind of wasted my money on that. Also, I'm sure there is a mile marker winch that works with this, but it was not this one that I bought. So this is just what's on eBay right now. It's a 24 volt mile marker winch that's supposed to be for a Humvee. I had to completely drill all my holes. Not the end of the world, just time consuming and tedious. But basically, these are the 4 holes I drilled. Quick thing to note is I did have to drill through the fair lead for the upper holes and also the winch plate. No big deal, you know, it doesn't cause any interference. And then this is actually just to mount the fair lead. So the fair lead is technically mounted in 4 places now, 2 on each side. But I did have to drill through that. I went with some longer bolts because of that. The winch itself is threaded, so it just threads into the winch. Seemed like it worked out pretty good. So other than that, no big deal. You know, basically just required. I also had to drill the winch plate for these upper bolts before I realized I had to drill the lower bolts there. There was already a hole in the fair lead, but not the winch plate. So anyway, you can probably get away with running just 2 bolts on the fair lead instead of 4. But I digress. So just took forever. This is pretty thick steel, but not overly complicated. Just take your time. Helps to have a nice new set of drill bits. Winch fits in there really nicely. So I just centered up. So the winch itself is as low as it can go. It's sitting, there's a lip at the bottom of the plate here, and the winch is actually sitting on that lip, and these are the 2 bottom holes. You know, it's as low as it can go is the point I'm trying to make. And that lines this part, the cable, up pretty much perfectly to come out dead center with the fair lead. Also another point I just remembered is this hole in the winch plate was slightly too narrow, and I did actually have to cut that and make it a little bit wider. And kind of just looking at this, hopefully, I don't think it's going to hit. I probably could have gone even wider on it. This side actually looks better than this side, but anyway, it would have been too far in, and the cable would have drug across this edge here and possibly damage the cable. I think it's going to catch the fair lead way before it catches that edge. So fair lead that came with the winch also in no way really worked with this plate for whatever reason. You can get different fair leads that are smaller. I don't know if it would be a great idea having a less wide fair lead, because then I think your cable might be at some crazy angles when it's like trying to loop around here. But you can get fair leads that are a little smaller, and maybe they'd work with a different kind of winch. Maybe they'd work with this, especially if you had synthetic line. Although I hate synthetic line, I think it's a trend, and I think a lot of these YouTube creators are getting paid by the companies to run synthetic line because it always breaks and it sucks, and then they sell you more line and it's like really expensive, whereas I literally have never seen or heard of a cable on a winch breaking. I mean, Whistling Diesel has a video where he winches a Jeep off the ground with a cable and it still didn't break. But anyway, I won't go into that whole tangent. And synthetic line rots out when it gets wet, but whatever. But anyway, another point to make, you should probably oil up your line. That's always a good idea. That way it will not rust. That is the one downside of cable, is it should be, you put some kind of oil on it every once in a while if you're not covering it up, or even if you are, to be honest. But yeah, I'm just rambling now. So had to cut the hole a little bigger. Other than that, it fits in there great. It really doesn't even need to come out this far. One downside, so you can reclock this part of the winch. I just have this cable tied up right now because it's not wired in, but this is the free spool lever. So you can reclock that. It would have been on the back the way the winch came. I reclocked it so it was on the front. Not difficult to do, just follow the instructions. Only bummer of the whole thing is this right here, the controller. Typically it's easiest to mount these to your, whatever this is called, like the guide. I can't remember the name. I think there's also a way you can mount it to the side of the winch, but, or like right here you can mount it. Maybe that would have been slightly better, got an extra inch closer. But either way, you got to plug in your controller in the back here. Now there is plenty of clearance to get to it. It's just a little bit of a bummer. It would have been better if I could, maybe in the future I'll come up with something and have the controller mounted like right here or something. I'm not that worried about it. It's not like you're winching every day, but that is a little bit of a downside. But there is plenty of room to get your hand in there. I remember on my past Humvee I had a aftermarket bumper, and it was like really hard to plug in because the plug-in was like right up against a metal wall. Kind of hard to explain, but it was a bit of a bummer. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. So just giving you guys a few pointers. I do recommend these brackets though. Super good. They went in perfect. Great fitment. Super strong. Awesome. You can reuse your bolts. Just kind of do some research as to what you're buying, because the plate you have might not work with the winch you get, and then you're going to have to do a ton of drilling. I reckon if I would have just bought a Sherpa winch, that it probably would have worked, because there's only one 12,000 pound Sherpa winch they make. Well, I take it back, there's two, I guess. You can get it in 12 volt or 24 volt. But I assume if they say it works, it would have worked. Whereas there's probably a bunch of different models of mile marker winches. It sounds stupid. The reason I went with mile marker is the Sherpa winches are like bright yellow. And, this is pretty visible. So I didn't really want a bright yellow winch on there. But honestly, I don't know. The Sherpa on my previous Humvee was really good. It was good quality. My only complaint was the controller was really chintzy on it, but the winch itself was really good quality. So she's in. The winch plate finally has a reason to be there and stick out that far. I'll give you a little bit of a side view. So it does stick out, I couldn't pull up to a vertical wall and climb it like they say the Humvees can do, which actually isn't true if you've got 37-inch tires, if I'm being honest, but 40s you probably could. But that's okay. This is more of I'm not going to be rock crawling in this rig. I'm going to be camping and doing cool, don't get me wrong, I'll do hard trails, but I'm not going to be doing insane stuff. And I like the look of this better. It looks way more factory than an aftermarket bumper, in my opinion. I had an aftermarket bumper in my last one, as I said, and it looked very aftermarket. I'll just say that. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Probably 15 plus minutes of me rambling, but I hope I helped you out. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe the video. It's late. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you.